Welcome to Leadership, the secret sauce, where extraordinary coaches and leaders reveal what makes them exceptional. We're your hosts, Dave Lipsky and Matt Dodson. Together, let's discover our guest's secret sauce. Today's episode is brought to you by Character Matters Coaching and Consulting. At Character Matters, we believe great leadership isn't just about results. It's about who you become along the way. From career transitions to team building, we help leaders unlock clarity, build resilience, and lead authentically. Because when character grows, impact follows. Visit charactermatterscoaching.com. Today's episode is supported completely unofficially by a community we deeply believe in, the International Coaching Federation's Coaching in Organizations. If you're building or leading an internal coaching program, this is where your people find their people. It's a space to swap real stories, sharpen your craft, and stay connected to what's emerging in our field. If you haven't joined yet, take a moment to sign up and plug into the conversations shaping the future of organizational coaching. Your community is waiting, and they're ready to learn with you. Go to coachingfederation.org/coaching-in-organizations-inquiry to get started.
All right. Well, welcome in. In today's episode, we're going to sit down with Rebecca Rutschmann and to uncover her secret sauce of leadership. I think you will really want to stay and listen for it. I think you'll also be fascinated just to hear her perspective on different things like coaching and AI and whatever it is, but we really want to hear her story. So Dave, would you like to introduce our guest?
I would say I'm at a 9 at the moment.
A 9. I like it. What has you at a 9?
It's only an hour to go, at the end of the session until I'm going to the lake and into my weekend. So,
all right, we're gonna make sure it's a time well spent. So, as you were flying back from the U.S. to your home, and somebody on the plane next to you said, "Hi, Rebecca, what do you do?" and they didn't know anything about coaching or AI or anything else, how would you describe that to them?
what I do? I would probably tell them that I'm currently just flying back home, to keeping it the French way, not the American way. And I just love pushing the limits. That's what I do.
Nice.
Well said.
How do they respond?
They would be curious to learn more about it, I guess. And we would end up in a beautiful conversation about where they're pushing the limits, where I'm pushing the limits, and just, go on that way.
Rebecca, we're going to get started because we really want to hear yours. Dave and I really want to hear your story. And oftentimes our listeners, that's what they really value, is they want to hear your story. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got into coaching and what you discovered along the way?
How I got into coaching. I never thought I would become a coach, or I wouldn't even describe myself as a coach, to be honest, in that way. I worked at an IT company back then, Nero Burning Room, for those that still know these shiny round things that you can put in a player.
Yes, I remember. I had one. Yeah. Exactly.
And Nero Burning Room just helped you burn CDs. I met my husband there, many developers, a lot of young people, a lot of IT people moving from developer into leadership roles. I worked in global corporate communications, also in internal communications, and we set up a new leadership program for these young emerging leaders that had no clue how to lead. Yeah, you're an expert developer, and all of a sudden you're a team leader. Yeah, and I had a lot of them in my office for a while, wanting some advice, some guidance. I had this nice little chair there. They would just come and sit there and talk to me. And I'm like, oh, okay. Hi, how are you going? Or we would go for coffee or whatever. And they try to reflect on all these difficulties and the new job that they got and that they're really struggling with leading these people. And what should I say to them? And then they come all with their problems and their emotions and throw it all on me. And I was like, oh, okay. So how can I help them? And then a friend of mine was like, oh, I'm doing this coaching program. And this was in 2005 or 6, something around that. And then I looked into it and I thought, oh, this looks like something really good to know. And that's kind of like how it got started. So I started doing a systemic coaching education, finished my degree there, but I actually never got like accredited or anything because I worked internally in the company. I worked with the teams and later on in digital agencies. I did kind of like a very similar thing as well.
Yeah. How did you discover or maybe I should ask this question. What is your secret sauce? I mean, what do you bring that's unique?
Interesting that you ask, because I never thought I would have a secret sauce, but thinking about this for me is always like, I'm very good with change. I might be slightly startled in the beginning when something is completely different, but I always find a path forward. So for me, adapting is easy to a certain extent, of course. And it's also, like I said before, I just love a challenge and I love to push limits. And I'm not scared, of new and unknown situations. I think that's one of the things. Yeah.
When you sort of discovered you're willing to, it's sort of an interesting mix of how you combine an IT and coaching together, and people were attracted to you. Anyway, I think that still holds true. Just to be, other people are just attracted to your perspective on things. Maybe you can share a little bit, like, okay, so you're in the early 2000s. Are you still internal in the early 2000s?
I just started my job. I came out of university 2001, 2002. Yeah. So.
All right. So how long did you stay internal before you sort of went out on your own?
What do you mean with went out on my own? As a coach or as a leader?
Oh, like you left the sort of internal coaching to be outside of the sort of the corporate.
Coaching was always just a part of what I do, and I mainly worked with teams and very young leaders. So for me, it's like I didn't leave it to become an external coach or something. That was never my intention, to be honest. I worked then in digital agencies on conceptual work, did UX, UI, and worked again with teams. And I was a team leader there. I was head of the conceptual department and social media. So I was leading teams. And then, of course, I helped other leaders as well along the way and my team members. So I mostly worked internal. I left corporate because it was just way too big for me at a certain point. I like smaller, more agile teams. So I mainly worked with teams most of my life. And then I actually left that to found a startup developing AI coaching chatbots in 2018-19. But also the intention was there to support the teams in the I was working a lot with, of course, IT teams, developing teams, and supporting them with their self-reflection when they come into retrospectives, when they needed help with their career. And a lot of them don't want to see a personal coach, a human coach. Yeah, they don't feel like it, or back then it wasn't a thing. Yeah, it felt more like going to a therapist. So we thought, how can we make this approachable to them? So we developed the first chatbots that they could chat to for some self-reflection. And that's how I ended up all of a sudden becoming a startup in an accelerator program. Here in one of the tech accelerators, and the whole story began.
Could you share any stories that you like? So 2018, 2019, it feels like forever ago in the AI world. Any sort of big takeaways that you had from those wild and woolly years of when things were just getting started? I mean, how did that work?
I mean, it was fun because we always say it's like handcrafted with love, because we had to still write scripts,
Yeah.
to make that all work, and it was designed, and that's where my conceptual background comes in very nicely, and also my IT background in designing all that, because you had to orchestrate it by hand. There was no generative AI, natural language processing was not at the point where you could use it for anything helpful for coaching. Yeah, it could do intent recognition or other little things, but nothing that would really help to design nice coaching conversations.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was nice. It was really hands-on. We would actually do paper in the beginning for the first prototypes that people had in front of
out code
themselves.
Or what? Yeah.
No, we printed out the screens that they would go through.
Oh, wow.
And then they could fill that in handwritten on what the chatbot says, what their answer would be, and then flap that to the next, because we wanted to test if the flow is good. Yeah. And if there are any disturbances in the script and how we can improve that. So we did like real UX research there. Back in those days.
Yeah, there's something very, very interesting, Rebecca, about the art, the craftsmanship of doing that, and how now we can throw things into Claude Code or do some things that we're not having to actually craft that experience. Right? What do you, in terms of like where you're at in terms of being able to still create a good user experience, right? How much is art? How much is science? How much is just using AI in different ways?
I think it's all three. So you have to know on how these AI systems work. Yeah. Otherwise, you can't craft anything. If you don't know how to work with wood, you can't build anything with wood. Yeah. Full stop. If you can't distinguish a pine wood from like a very hard, like what is it?
Like
in English?
oak or cherry.
An oak, tree or something like that. You're screwed if you kind of like treat it the same way. So you really have to know your technology and how these different AI models work, because you have to prompt them in different ways as well. The output will be different. Yeah, they have different flaws as well. And then you really need to know how to design a good user experience. And you have to be very aware of how the flow of a very good conversation actually works. Yeah. And what coaching methodology you want to use, how the flow of that is. And it's an art in itself to do this really right. We as humans, good human coaches, they do this naturally because it's learned behavior. Yeah. Over the years, they built on that. Yeah. But how do you actually make that present and then write a concept on how to do that? You can quickly put a prompt in ChatGPT or anything else, but that's not going to design you a really responsible, trustworthy, worthwhile, good conversation that goes longer than 10 minutes until it loses the thread. Yeah, it ignites always something if you use these tools. They will help for something, but not for a longer time and not really ensuring, I would say, human growth.
Yeah. Rebecca, if Dave or I were able to find you in the Black Forest and shadowed you got to spend a week with you, where would we see your secret sauce the most?
Out in the mountain. I've been a mountain girl all my life. I'm a climber. I'm a climbing instructor. I don't know. I'm a member of the German Alpine Club for such a long time. For me, being out in nature is where I reconnect with everything. And that's where I get a lot of my experience from as well. What we talked before about, facing fear or dealing with unforeseen situations, because that's what happens out there in the mountains. You can never plan. Yeah. How do you make God laugh? Make a plan. Yeah. Usually you always have to have, fallback plans. Yeah.
True. It's very true. Well, let me ask you your perspective on what do you think coaches really need to stop doing or start doing to stay relevant in what seems like, I think for some coaches, a really fast changing area. Like I think we've seen some of the the peaks of people wanting to get into democratized coaching, and maybe it's going differently. But what do you see? What do coaches really need to do to stay relevant?
I actually think we need to do what we try to enable our clients to do. Yeah, think more about who are you going to become? Yeah, because AI is not going to go away. Yeah, it's like doubling down on everything that you've learned in the past is not going to help. The question is like, who will we? Who do you want to become? In this future, and stop being scared, because coaches are usually curious. I mean, isn't that why most of us became coaches in the first place? So we really need to dig into that great skill of curiosity, also when facing technology. And I understand for a lot of coaches who just want to work with humans, technology feels heavy. And I get that. Yeah, it's hard when we became coaches to be closer to humans and support humans on the way. But we need to use technology, as a tool along the way as well. And our clients are doing it. And we just need to dig into the positive side of things, into the curiosity. And you can be cautiously optimistic, but I would like to underline the optimistic.
Yeah, that's right on. What's a bold belief about like leadership or coaching that you have that not everyone agrees with?
That I don't think you need to lead anyone. Like what I learned in mountaineering is when you have a group, and if you're not in the most dangerous situation, you usually go behind, because then you have everything, as a leader. And you just let people do their own experiences, their own learning. And when they stumble, you help them up and you give them some advice or a tip or something as a leader. And like, what's the next step? You don't like say 5 things you have to do now, because then they'll be overwhelmed. In the mountains, people then panic. If you give them too much on the way, just like, just do this, and that will help you over the crevasse or up the next step or something like that. And that's kind of like what I believe. Like, that's what my leadership is. That's how I raise my kids. My little son, he's 11 now. He walks in front of me in the mountains until I tell him, no, I have to go first now, because now it's dangerous. Or we have to rope up here, or stay away from the cliff's edge, because he likes to explore too. And so for me, that's part of leadership the way I see it. But I don't really like that word leading in there, because leading means people rely on you and they're not responsible. So there's I just put all the responsibility on my leader. It's their fault if something happens, but I turn it usually around.
Yeah, I really like the point at which you say to your son, I let me go first for a moment, right, based on what you see. And it's I think about like people's use of AI and how we as coaches see AI. And when we need to put the human first, right? When we need to put the AI down and then intervene. What is that for you? What do you see?
With AI in the picture, or in general?
Yeah.
Like, for example, I'm a purist. I don't work with AI in my coaching sessions besides taking notes. And even that I quite often don't need, but sometimes the clients want it. But I use AI to prepare in between sessions, to send something to the client, to dig deeper, or to learn more, or to have some further explorations with an AI coach, because it ignites something different than the human coaching session. And then there are just days where I feel with the client coming in, ooh, it's different today. We usually use a note taker, but I think I need to recontract here and just ask the client, do you feel better if we take that off today? Because I see they're very vulnerable. It's a difficult day. Maybe it's a sensitive topic. They don't want to have anything involved in it. And then we just turn it off. And having this feeling, or knowing what your clients need, I think is very important.
Yeah.
Should be your client leading it. Yeah, it should always be the contracting with your client and what they feel comfortable with. Yeah, and of course you as well. Sometimes clients come in with something very, very experimental, also with AI, because they like to explore things too. And maybe sometimes the coaches don't feel comfortable with it. And we should be at eye level with them and should also be able to just say, ooh, that doesn't sit right with me. Would you mind if we not do that? Yeah, but maybe what have you learned about this? Or what's it that really sparks something for you? And then we can have a conversation about that.
Yeah. Rebecca, if you had to design or identify your ideal coach, what would you want from a coach today?
I like people challenging me, and I'm not sure if this is an ideal coach. So, and just be present and just know when, I need just someone there to listen, and when I need someone to challenge me. And that's one of the questions I learned from someone really great in my network. Just that question in the beginning, how do you need me to be as your coach today? Because every day is different. Yeah. And I always thought this is one of the most beautiful questions just to ask, just to set the stage for whatever comes.
Yeah. Yeah. You've kind of touched on a couple of different, like each time around intuition. I think of the quality of intuition, like whether that's the coach asking or to be able to say, hey, do we need it?
Maybe it's also observing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe we need to turn off the note taker today. I think the ask is really, I don't know sometimes if the client would even ask that, but I think the coach in a more sort of heightened intuition would say, hey, is this, what do you need? And I'll allow them to ask.
Yeah. And AI note takers can disturb, and the coach, it would never say something until it's really bad. Yeah. So I always like offering that first. Yeah. If that's helpful for them today or not. And that anytime during the session, they have the control. With some clients, you can also say, you record it on your side, you keep it, and you can turn it off anytime you want. Yeah. And then I like giving the power to the other side. Yeah. Or empowering them to be in control of what's going to happen.
Yeah. You describing your son, my children are older, and I find it fascinating we're talking so much about children still being able to learn to connect with other humans while like social media and the world around you is changing. What and if you feel comfortable answering this, what's most important for you to teach your son to connect with humans? What's your focus there?
That you have to work things out. We just had a situation last week with my older son. He's 14, around a school project. And you know how they sometimes go if you have to work with others and they don't put the same effort in and all this. And I mean, they're 14, so they still have to work this out. So I'm just like, you need to talk about this. Yeah, but she doesn't want to. Like, just go for some ice cream. Everybody loves ice cream. They'll come for an ice cream. Yeah. And that's always my secret. Yeah. I'll go and take people out for an ice cream. Because, I mean, isn't it ice cream therapy when you're a teenager? Ice cream
for an
always
adult
helps, especially when it's for adults, for everyone. I think Ben and Jerry's even had this chocolate therapy ice cream at some point. I loved that one. This was exactly the note. And I love to see that they do it. They work it out. And we don't give that young generation enough credit. I mean, like, they grow up in a different world. They have to process a lot of different things. And when I see what these 14-year-olds can already do on having like difficult conversations like that with each other, I couldn't do that when I was 14. Let's say, I would always say things out loud, and then my fellow students just ignored me. I was too much. They didn't want to have the conversation. They didn't feel comfortable. So that's okay. I give them credit for it. I get it. I was a lot when I was a teenager, but that's fine. But I love to, empower my kids to just talk to their friends. Like, if there's anything, like, let's sit down, talk about it. Yeah. And there's always a solution for everything. Yeah. The question is just, what do you want? And what does the other child want? And maybe you can meet somewhere halfway. And I think that's such an important skill for them to manage early on.
Maybe you could share a little bit, Rebecca, like what do you recommend as far as like unconventional or even conventional resources to leaders? Like, where do you go? Like when you start working with them and they're like, hey, is there something that you would, additional reading that I can do in between my coaching sessions to help me in my leadership? Where would you go?
I don't have the thing per se. It depends on the person as well. And like I said before, I always like to push their limits. So I give them either something fun or something thoughtful, or I listen to all kinds of podcasts or shows, or just made my husband laugh yesterday because I had a deep dive into everything Trevor Noah did, because I didn't follow him for a while. Because he says he does also some really fun stuff around Germans and French. And yeah, we like that here. So it's kind of he gives everyone some of his advice or some of his jokes. And just give them something that just like disrupts their thinking. Yeah, that's what I usually like. Or just tell them, just go outside. Yeah, just do a walk, no phone, nothing. Yeah, and just, if you have a dog, great. And if not, you just go somewhere outside and don't look at your phone for an hour. Leave it at home. Nothing's going to happen. Nobody's going to die. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure about this. I mean, I'd say 99%. And just try to connect with yourself, with your own thinking. And because I love being on my own. I know not everybody can. I go hiking for 3-4 days and it gives me a lot. I get the most insights. And sometimes when you have a bad day, I just ask them, just turn on some fun music. Yeah. And that's how you can maybe then do the hard things, like doing the dishes at home. I don't know about you, but my husband loves it. I hate it. Yes. I don't have fun doing the dishes. I need some good music and some fun costume or something to get through that. Yeah.
Nice. Maybe you can share a little about your own podcasting journey. Like, what is that like for you? Like, and how long have you been doing it?
I did a podcast a few years back. I don't know, David, if you have ever listened to it. It was early explorations. I think we started in the pandemic. Yeah. Anyways, it was called The Future of Coaching. And then we stopped for a while, and then I always wanted to get back into it. And now around the NYU summit, we thought we have these leading voices edition, and then I thought, no, but this could be a start of a bigger project. Yeah. And so we started the Human and AI podcast, and I was very hesitant in the beginning of all the work that you have to put in it, because here comes the gym and I need to do everything right. There has to be, like all the plans set up, with the Kanban board and the boxes, everything. But I'm really enjoying it. And I think all these conversations, they always ignite something in you too. They bring my thinking further now, week by week. And I love it. Yeah, but it's more work than you think in the beginning. Yeah. So all my respect for where you're already gotten with your podcast.
But it is super approachable. I think that's one of the things that I really like about podcasting is all of a sudden you can really get into a conversation with someone. It doesn't feel overproduced, or it doesn't. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why Dave and I started the podcast is because we really love spending time with coaches. And we found this a way to just hear their story, because each person's story of how they got into it, if they really thought about it, is really actually unique and special. And it sort of transcends even the coaching world, just even to the leadership world, or just why they do what they do. So obviously going to the purpose side. Yeah. Dave, what's your reflection on everything Rebecca shared?
I just had a flashback to the future of coaching.
If that's possible.
And I so appreciate. Yeah, I did. And I just want to say, Rebecca, over the years, I so appreciate your fearless disruption, along with kind of the grounding that you bring with structure. And the reason I say that is every time I've interacted with you, you get me to think differently and you question something. And I really appreciate that. And then the other part of it is that I've learned how much you love nature and grounding and the ability to do both of those things is we can't be afraid to disrupt each other's thinking. And I love that you bring that. And then also we need to take care of ourselves, and nature is a big part of it for me as well. So thank you.
And I think my insight from the discussion, you said something, it was a little bit, is like just dealing with one thing at a time. And I can't handle, 5 ways, or I just can't do it. But give me one, and it's possible I can work on that for a little while. And oftentimes I forget that as human beings, we just usually get like one little defect of character that we can work on at a time, or one challenge rather than 5 ways, 3 ways, 10 ways, and whatever it happens to be.
You don't need that,
because I just can't, as a human, I just can't process all of that at once, and I just appreciate that. And you are all.
It's actually from Kill Bill. Do you remember that line? Yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit of a movie nerd sometimes. First things first, wiggle your toes. Just try to focus on that first thing that you need to do, because if you can't walk, there's no way of getting up.
Very nice.
That was a great movie.
Rebecca, what is the best way for someone, you kind of joking, you said that if we could find you in the Black Forest, we would see you there. What's the best way for someone, one of our podcast listeners or other coaches, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
The easiest is just to connect with me on LinkedIn, and then write me a message. That's where I'm most responsive. Emails are for me almost like fast miles. So, sometimes I just drop the emails, but I usually am more reactive on LinkedIn. And if you are in the Black Forest, you can try to find me.
And if you,
I'm usually higher up. So.
And for those of you that are listening, Rebecca has a website, vivalacoaching.com. If you want to also see some other stuff that she's on, it's usually she'll post on something that she's on or something like that. I think that's always, and to actually see what it looks like, to really use some really great artwork on a coach's website that is, anyway, I really appreciate it as an artist. There are very cool illustrations.
I'm my own agency, and you see who I am by just looking at it. We like the Rebel Guardian of the Galaxy and League of Legends style. So that's my
if
IT
you're a fan,
heritage here.
Rebel Guardian of the Galaxy. Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, my sons are both addicted to it now. So
they never. Yes, they're always good.
Yeah, my little one is into nature, so he loves Groot.
My daughter planted a tree out back and called it Groot about 10 years ago, I think, when it first started. And Groot has grown. So I love that.
Did it ever disappear?
No. It's on the side of the house, so we don't know what it does at night.
But they're very important things. Yeah, like the, what is it in Fantastic Beasts? Newt Scamander also has, what is it called again? That little twig. My son could tell me now because he has one of them. Always goes with them. Yeah, it's the grounding. Yeah.
The grounding, the superpowers of nature. I like it.
Yes.
We've had a lot of our guests talk about that grounding piece. And I think sometimes people forget it in the terms of coaching. Like they really just don't realize how important it is to being to showing up well. Just not even using the word leader, but to really show up well and to be sure that you're taking care of this and not just the grind or the getting into the daily or the weekly deliverables or something. Like, how do I make sure I take care of this? And it's the instrument that I've been given. How do I tend to it well?
Exactly.
Yeah. Rebecca, thank you so much for the time. And Dave and I really appreciate it. We love seeing you at the NYU Coaching and Technology Summit. I think that's where I first ran into you. And of course, we also saw you at the gym one time, Dave and I. So when
yes, exactly. But that was in Boston.
Yes. At the Institute of Coaching, which is another great conference for those of you that are interested. Some of our guests That's where we met them and where we invited them. And thank you. And
Thank you,
Thank
Rebecca.
you. And you have a beautiful weekend.
For our guests,
You as well.
don't forget to like and this podcast, subscribe. That certainly helps us with our guests and future guests. And thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. If you love this podcast, please share it with another coach or leader. Make sure you go to the show notes to get all the resources from today's episode.